Sholmes! Drop everything, Sholmes! This is more important! Gina? I can't Adam and Eve it! What's happened? Clearly a very grave matter indeed. For Miss Lestrade made no mention of my hair whatsoever. It's the boss! What do you mean? Inspector Gregson? The boss he's dead! They just found his body! Shot with a pistol! What? Inspector Gregson? Was it murdered? No! Not Gregson! Come in, my dear girl. Tell us the whole story. Are you serious, Gina? Inspector Gregson was really shot! I don't know much about what happened myself yet. They're still there, investigating the scene. Where did this take place? A little rented room in a building full of flats on Fresno Street. The outskirts of town. Nowhere near his home. He was perhaps investigating a case then. The thing is, no one at the yard knows nothing about no case around there. How strange. The boss he was so good to me. I know I ain't up to much yet, but one day I was gonna show him. I'd become a proper detective. Ginny. Oh, who did this? Do you have any idea who the culprit is? They got him already. Already? They've caught the shooter so soon. And him. A witness reported something was going on. And the boys got straight down there and took care of him. Huh? What awful person did this? I still can't believe it myself. Gina? It was the Reaper. Wait a minute. You don't mean they've arrested Lord Von Zieks? That's right. The Reaper bloke's gone and shot the boss. No, Lord Von Zieks. Are you quite sure, Miss Lestrade? It's Barak Von Zieks the police have arrested. I saw him with my own eyes in the interview room at the yard. I don't believe it. There were witnesses, and they're all saying it was him. So you mean there were actually multiple witnesses? They heard the gunshot, apparently. Heard it? When Al walked up to the scene, it was only the boss and the Reaper bloke in the room. There's no way Lord Von Zieks would have taken Gregson's life. I just don't believe it. I don't believe it either. Thank you for informing us, Miss Lestrade.
This really is most terrible news. I'm dreadfully sorry.
What are you saying sorry for? You didn't do nothing! Oh, anyway, I'm taking a cab over to the scene right now. Please come on, as soon as you can. You gotta help!
It's the detective's lot to appear whenever some sinister plot has unfolded. And no wonder we all look haggard. Sometimes these things are almost too much for the nerves. Mr. Sholmes. What use is there being a detective if I fail to see something like this coming, huh? How could I have let this happen to Gregson? To Gregson! Mr. Naruhodo, I shall leave at once to begin my investigations. Of course, yes, we will too! It would be helpful if you could talk to Mr. Reaper and see what you can glean. I'm sure you were intending to do so anyway. Until later, then. Holy fuck! Inspector Gregson, dead. And Lord Von Zieks, arrested!
Bruno, Susie! I've called you a hansom. It's waiting outside.
Thanks, Iris. Shall we, Mr. Sutter?
Yes! I don't know what's happening!
There he is. Lord Von Zieks behind bars. So it's true. He really was arrested. Sitting with his back to the wall, reading something. I don't think he's noticed us. Oh, Lord Von Zieks? Fancy meeting you here. The last place on earth I'd like to be, with the last person on earth I'd like to see. I couldn't very well not come. We heard about what happened. That Inspector Gregson was... Go home. This has nothing to do with you. But... Forgive me, Lord Von Zieks, but I must disagree! Inspector Gregson was very helpful to us on a number of occasions. We're indebted to him. At the very least, we owe it to him to find out the truth about his death. You must help us with our investigations, please! There's really nothing I can tell you. What were you just reading at the back of the cell there? Was it something related to the case? This. The yard isn't quite so cavalier with this information as to share case details with the suspect. This is a letter from an old acquaintance. Who might that be? Someone you know, as it happens. Albert Harebrain. Of course, yes. I keep forgetting they went to the same university. I would like to read my correspondence in peace. So let's get this over with, shall we? What is it you want to know? Strange. I mean, let's face it, Lord Von Zieks never minces his words. They seem to have less bite than usual somehow. What happened? Can you at least tell us your side of the story, Lord Von Zieks? What happened? How much do you already know? We know that the inspector was shot dead in a small rented room on Fresno Street. And that you were found there by the police when they arrived on the scene and immediately arrested. We We were told there was nobody else in the room and that some witnesses heard the gunshot. And you're well informed. There's really nothing I can add. Truth is, I don't know what happened myself. The gunshot! Obviously you didn't fire the gun, did you? I'm not in the habit of shooting the people I work alongside. I also heard the noise. However, before I had a chance to investigate, I was apprehended by the arriving officers. He doesn't actually know what happened. If I might ask, what were you doing in that place to begin with? I don't need to answer that. After all, you're not representing me. You're not representing me. He is going to need a lawyer, though. So, who's going to be representing you in court, Lord Von Zieks? Anyone other than you, I should imagine. Would I be right in assuming that you have no representation as of yet? Defense lawyers shy away from any trial involving the Reaper, as I'm sure you know. This is different. In my career, of all the defendants I've prosecuted, only 19 have ever been acquitted. Of them, 16 subsequently died in mysterious circumstances. Questions will be asked now. Surely not! I assure you, no defense lawyer would want to touch me with the end of a barge pole. You didn't actually have anything to do with those people's deaths, did you? It's been 10 years now that I've been known as the Reaper of the Bailey. Believe me, nobody wants to know the true identity of this killer more than I. However, seems things may come to a head before I have the chance to uncover the truth about that. What does he mean by that? After the trial, Professor Harebrain was supposed to go straight back to Germany, I thought. There's a letter to inform me of his safe arrival at home. I arranged his passage by sea and rail. It's a relief, I must say. He should now be beyond the reaches of the Reaper. Because the Reaper doesn't follow people abroad, you mean? Yes, so it seems. Your stooped little Nipponese friend, for example. He told me he was keeping well in Japan when I inquired the other day. Yes, that's right. He's an author now, happily working in Tokyo. So Professor Harebrain is safely back in Germany now? He is. So, it appears our conversation has run dry. It was a 2-second silence, chill. Or in any event, if you'll excuse me now, I wouldn't like to detain you. I was wondering, Lord Von Zieks, if you'd like, I'd be happy to advocate for you. You trust me, do you? Yes. I've heard you speak many times in court. I've seen how you treat people. So I'm quite sure you would never have taken another's life. It's just, my feelings can't be used as evidence in a court of law, sadly. It's a very gracious offer. However, I trust no one! What? Not the police, not the judiciary, not you Nipponese. Please! I have no intention of engaging your services. The chasm between us is just too wide and too deep, it seems. I'd appreciate it if you don't visit again. And neither of us will waste any more time. Perhaps we need to dig a little deeper. Find out more about Lord Von Zieks and what happened to Inspector Gregson. Let's investigate. Yes, the crime scene. This really is an out-of-the-way part of London. I doubt many people find their way down this back street. This dust-ridden rented room. That's where it happened then. So this is... Poor Inspector Gregson lost his life. Yes. And the police are already hard at work investigating, it seems. I don't see Mr. Sholmes anywhere, though. Perhaps his investigations have taken him elsewhere.
Oi! What you lot think you're doing there? Every one of them jaws has got to be taken right out so we can look underneath and all. I want the space above this ceiling checked, and don't forget to look inside the chimney stack too. Blimey, ain't you lot never gone over our house looking for dough when the owners are out of town?
Gina's obviously got some unique investigative techniques she wants everyone to adopt.
Oh, so you've turned up at last. Mind you, I haven't been here long myself.
Hello again, Gina.
Sholmes has only just left. You're lucky you missed that. He went prancing around in here, pointing at stuff and flicking the out of his and just scarpered.
He's finished investigating already, you mean?
Yeah, he didn't stop to say nothing to no one. Not even me.
Gina, would you mind if we investigated too?
Listen, Otto. You're a lawyer, right?
Yes. Why?
Well, you're not thinking of trying to help that Rika bloke, are ya?
Poor Gina. She's never going to forget, is she? Trouble will haunt her forever. Gina, if you don't mind me saying, if Lord Von Zieks really is responsible for this crime, he will be duly and fairly judged in court.
Suppose you're right, yeah. Go on then, Otto. Get investigating. I want to know the truth about what really happened here.
Thank you, Gina. Gina, what was Inspector Gregson doing here in the first place?
That's what I want to know. What, half a year since I got out of the clink? And I decided to give up me diving and become a detective instead.
Yes, Mr. Sholmes twisted the inspector's arm to agree to take you on as an apprentice, didn't he?
Something like that, I think. Anyway, the point is, I didn't really know much about the boss till then. It turns out, he's a bit of a legend at the yard.
Goodness, really?
They say he managed to solve some really tricky case, just like that.
He did?
Yup, and ever since then, he started going out on all sorts of investigations, but always on his own. No one else at the yard even knows what half his cases... half the cases he's working on are, apparently.
That's not how it's supposed to work, is it? So what was the legendary inspector doing in a dingy little room like this?
I know he had a lot of respect for the Reaper and all. And look where that landed him!
Respect for the Reaper? In what way?
I heard him say as much. I take my hat off to that fella with his words.
Not how the general public feels, is it? Most people are terrified of the Reaper.
Yeah, the boss said that's exactly why he respected the bloke.
I didn't realise Gregson held the Reaper in quite such high regard.
He said something else to me and all. I didn't need to worry about the Reaper, because he only goes after people who are bad. It did kind of set my mind at ease when he said that.
Right. What is this place then? Does anyone live here?
Apparently it's been rented by some calf called Hugh Boone.
Hugh Boone? Sort of here today, gone tomorrow name that, isn't it?
Yeah, he's what we call an unidentified person. We haven't been able to get in touch with him.
I see. Well, judging from appearances, I'd have to say this place hasn't been lived in for a long time, if ever.
Right, all the lads from the yard piled down to get stuck into the investigation. But there's so little here, no one knew what to do with themselves.
I do wonder. Yes, Mr. Suttle? Well, could it be that this Hugh Boone is in fact Inspector Gregson himself? What? How could that be? Well, if he was investigating on his own, it's quite possible. This was in fact some kind of secret office of his. I've never even considered that.
Nice work, Suze. We're actually following the line of inquiry like that ourselves.
You are?
If you look around the room, you'll see. There's a few things I ain't at it.
I should really investigate this place in detail. I see that's where the poor inspector was found, over there.
Yeah, that's right. I said it was a single bullet what did him in. Apparently the bullet went right through him and struck that candle tree on the wall.
Yes, it's blown up one of the candles apart completely.
And the gun used there is on the floor. It's the Reaper's in it, no denying that.
Really? How'd you know that?
Take it easy. I don't know what to do with myself when you stare at me with them big wide eyes. I'm only saying what I heard. I don't know much about guns myself. There's some bigwig lawman or whatever who said so. Why don't you ask him?
A bigwig lawman, is it?
Anyway, Fresno Street runs along under that window there. There were some big street sellers just outside who heard the gunshot.
But I don't recall seeing anybody outside.
Yeah, they've all been taken down the yard for questioning, that's why. We're talking about the yard's legendary inspector here, after all. They'll be getting a grilling.
Do you think we might be able to speak with those street sellers ourselves?
Doubt it. The lads at the yard will just want to know what you're snooping for and you'll be getting a grilling and all.
So we can't interview the witnesses then. Shame. When do we ever get to interview witnesses? Alright, thank you for the talk. Let's investigate. Oh, it's a photograph stand. I suppose it must be a picture of one of Inspector Gregson's family members. What's the matter? Your eyes look like they're about to pop out of your head.
They are! Look! Mr. Naruhodo, quickly!
Why do I feel like this woman is familiar somehow?
Of course she's familiar! We met her only this morning! Ah! It's Mrs. Vigil!
This makes no sense. Why would there be a picture of Mrs. Vigil in here? To be frank, I don't think I've ever been more stumped. I'm sorry to say, I have no idea either. Well, we just started. It'll all come together eventually. Chin up. What's this board here? This looks like some sort of notice board or something. And it's absolutely covered in scraps of paper.
Mr. Naruhodo, look!
This, you mean? It's an autopsy report, isn't it? These are case notes here, and details of prison inmates. Yes, in fact, there are all sorts of documents that only a detective could normally acquire. What on earth went on in this room? Some more newspaper cuttings. And this one here! Yes, the advertisement, you mean? To the Red-Headed League. But why? What's that doing here? Whoever occupied this room was clearly interested in it for some reason. Curious, sir, curious. Speaking of redheads, what's this? Ever since we came in here, I can't take my eyes off of this thing. Funnily enough, neither can I. It's a hairpiece, isn't it? It is! A bright red hairpiece! I suppose the fact that it's right there next to where the body was found means that we have to accept that Inspector Gregson wore wigs, does it? And it's such a flame-coloured red too! Yes, it's a colour we've come across very recently elsewhere, isn't it? Exactly. This is a vital clue, I'm sure! The murder weapon. Presumably. Oh my! It is real, I suppose. I think so. Guns are so rare in Japan, I really know very little about them. There's only one way to know for sure, Mr. Naruhodo. Fire shot! No! If I did that, I'd be looking for a skilled lawyer to represent me in court! Or I can just defend myself again. Slightly safer just to ask someone who might know, I think. Well, before we investigate the outline there, what's this? It would appear to be a little model policeman. It's rather charming, isn't it? In a way. Seeing as it's on the floor here, you think it belonged to Inspector Gregson. It's a little hard to imagine Lord Von Zieks playing with something like this. It's only about 8 centimeters tall. Could have fallen out of someone's pocket, I suppose. I think we should record it as evidence just in case. Yes, I agree. It is rather delightful after all, in a way. Alright, now the obvious. Ugh. Gruesome scene. So I suppose this is where the victim... That's right. The rope is laid around the body to show exactly how it was found. Poor Inspector Gregson himself has already been taken away. We'll probably be onto Dr. Sith's scalpel by now, if not for what happened last week. From the shape of the rope, it would appear that the inspector was curled up in a ball. Are you feeling alright, Mr. Naruhodo? You look like you've just seen a ghost. Might as well have. It's a freaking outline. I know it's just rope, but it conjures quite a terrifying image. That's all. Especially with that bloodstain next to it. I do understand. In some ways, what we picture in our minds can be even worse than reality. Sato's song is so strong though. She's taking this far better than I am. The top of one of the candles in this candle holder has been completely blown off. Yes, there's wax spattered on the wall behind, look. I suppose if a bullet had hit it. It does seem likely that the bullet hit the candle, having first passed through the inspector's body. Now that wax on the wall looks like blood to me. Ooh. somebody's very haphazardly nailed those boards over the broken glass, haven't they? I couldn't even really call it a window anymore. Well, if you remember the window in Mr. Nutsmith's room, it was totally blocked up with bricks. This one does, at least. You could say nothing more about it. I'm starting to feel even more sorry for Mr. Nutsman now. You got something to say, Governor? Excuse me? If you're looking down on us from the great beyond, Inspector, don't worry. We'll look after things at the yard. I've interrupted some deep thoughts there. My bad. Is this one deep in thought too? Excuse me. Sorry, sir. Can't see a thing, sir. Too many tears, sir. Right, perhaps I'd better leave you to your work then. And we'll continue ours. Let's go through this with a fine-tooth comb. I think that's it, to be honest with you. Except this chimney or fireplace thing. An empty fireplace makes a room even colder than it would be otherwise, doesn't it? It's thick with dust, look! I think it would be fair to say it hasn't been used in a very long time. In other words, whoever lived in this room must have been extremely hardy in cold weather. Or nobody lived here at all, and merely visited when the occasion arose. I wouldn't like to say which one is more likely. No, that's right, it's one or the other. Alright. Oh, wait. Oh, Inspector! Oh, sir! Oh, man, he can't possibly be able to focus on investigating when he's so upset. It's a trying time for all of us, I'm sure. I don't know who's happy about any of this. We talked, right? Yep. Okay. Do we want to present anything? Oh yeah, let's go through some evidence, shall we? This blown off thing. Candle. There's some black marks here, look! Yes, they look like some sort of scorch marks. So perhaps the bullet struck the candle here, do you think? It's only this one candle that's been cracked in half, it seems. I think you might be right. Firearms are rarely used by criminals in Japan, so I'm afraid I'm not particularly knowledgeable about them. Curious. I got that one. The helmet of this charming policeman appears to be a little worse for wear. I'm not convinced about the charming part, but yes, it's cute. The head looks like it's been fairly heavily manhandled. Almost as if someone has enjoyed twisting it around and around for fun. Shall we try twisting it around and around too? For fun? Ah, what's that? It appears to be some sort of key. But it's tiny though. It couldn't be a key for a door. Not that size. So what is it for, I wonder? A key. This looks like some sort of key. Yes, it does. A very tiny and simple key. What's a little key doing inside a figurine of a policeman in the first place? What's it for? In due time, in due time. I suppose this must have been the murder weapon.
Oh my. It's real, I suppose.
I think so. Guns are so rare in Japan. I really know very little about them. Perhaps someone more familiar with firearms could shed a light on things here. Oh. Yeah, I guess you lot won't know, so we do need to talk to someone about that. A wig. I've always wondered what the underside of a hairpiece looks like. It doesn't surprise me at all, Mr. Naruhodo. You always want to see what lies beneath, don't you? I'm not sure that's quite how I'd put it. You must have to use lots of bird lime to keep in place on your head. So it doesn't get blown off in a gust of wind, I mean. It might be a little inconvenient when you want to take it off again, don't you think? Did we read this yet? I'm not sure. Notice of dismissal, 25th of June. Chief Warder Daily Vigil is relieved of his post with immediate effect for having violated Clause 132 of Her Majesty's Code of Conduct for Prisons. All rights to redundancy pay and other financial benefits are fully revoked. Reason for dismissal: aiding and abetting the escape of this prison of convict Yalalaba just prior to his execution. Details of this escape are still being investigated. Full cooperation with inquiries will be expected. Prisoner Governor barricaded. Additional notes. Indications are that the jailbreak plot was conceived prior to the convict's incarceration. It's believed that the convict engaged in some sort of negotiation with prison staff in order to secure assistance. Full disclosure of information regarding these negotiations will be demanded. I think that's it. We've investigated the scene. Okay, we still can't talk to Von Zeeks. I guess we can ask someone about that gun. You've made good time. I took an express train back to London. I can hear Lord Strongheart. Can you?
Yes, it sounds as though he's talking to someone.
Is everything in place? I had a private compartment on the train so I could check all the paperwork. It's Kazuma-sama! Ah, your timing is impeccable. It is. No doubt you have heard the sickening news about the Reaper's latest devilry. Yes. Sure you don't believe it, of course, though, Lord Strongheart. That Lord Von Zeeks could have done such a thing to Inspector Gregson. I believe only in the facts. And the facts in this case point to one thing. The unavoidable accusal of Lord Von Zeeks for this crime. We must bring charges against the Reaper for taking the life of our legendary detective.
No, surely not!
It's a truly regrettable situation. Tomorrow the Forensic Science Symposium finally begins. At the very least, though, we can show the world our justice system's swift and equitable processes. So does that mean the trial is tomorrow? Precisely. In fact, This is a fine opportunity for introductions. Cosmo. Oh, but of course, you're already acquainted, aren't you? Mr. Sogi here will be present at tomorrow's proceedings. Leading the prosecution! Oh my gosh! Wait! What? Cosmo? Oh. As I'm sure you're aware, he's a very capable practitioner of law. Cosmo-sama, a prosecutor! Oh my god, this is so cursed! What? I'm sure you can imagine that tomorrow's trial will be closely followed all over London. In fact, no. People all over the Empire will be watching closely to see how it unfolds. There's no salvation for anyone in a trial prosecuted by the Reaper of the Bailey. And now, the Reaper himself must stand in the dock. Quite so. The public want answers about the Reaper. Answers about how and why those who escaped conviction subsequently died mysterious deaths. But Lord Von Zeeks firmly denies any involvement in such matters. There have been thorough investigations that have proven him to be innocent. That's certainly true. Or it has been, at least, until now. No, tomorrow's trial will mark the start of a new chapter in our country's great judicial history. Oh my god, this is so cursed. No, Cosmo will be prosecuting tomorrow. That's right. He's a defense lawyer, Lord Strongheart. Accomplished young law practitioners cannot pick and choose their roles. And imagine what it will mean for the prosecution to know the strategies commonly employed by the defense. A devastating combination, won't you agree? Absolutely. I've no doubt at all that Cosmo will be razor sharp as a prosecutor. Why Cosmo-sama? There are surely many other highly skilled prosecutors in Great Britain. It was a personal request. I asked to be assigned to the trial. You asked for this? But why? It'll all become clear tomorrow. I'm guessing you intend to stand for the defense, don't you? Although, the Reaper appears to be turning down all offers of representation. I'm surprised such a personal request would have been upheld. It seems unprecedented. Quite exceptional, in fact. You are quite right, Miss Mikotoba. Tomorrow's trial will be unprecedented and exceptional in every way. After all, the accused is one of Britain's greatest prosecutors, the pride of the Empire. It would be unwise to give the public a reason to perceive it as judiciary closing ranks. So that's why you're happy to let a foreigner handle the prosecution. Yunosuke, let's see how your skills have been honed after practicing law in this land for so many months. I believe there was a 6-month gap. Cosmo, You got rid of the headband, no! I don't understand why you're being so hostile to me now. This isn't going to end well, my friend. I should have left this one for last, actually. Whoops. Anyway, Yes, we noticed that there was a gun at the scene of Inspector Gregson's death. Do you know if it belongs to Lord Von Zieks? That would be a question for the lead detective investigating the scene. Thing is, she wasn't sure, so she told me I should ask somebody higher up who might know.
Oh, that's right, Mr. Naruhodo, be direct!
It's certainly a model that's issued to all personnel involved in law enforcement, yes. Which includes prosecutors, as I'm sure you can imagine.
In that case, it could actually have belonged to the victim.
No, Gregson had his gun on his person. What about Lord Von Zieks? He claims it's currently not in his possession. What? According to his story, he lost it. In short, it's more than a little suspicious.
Oh, it's just the gun in question is the same type as the defendant's. There's no proof that it is actually his.
No, of course not. Nevertheless, the situation is grave for Lord Von Zieks. Oh my god. Dude! I'm sorry for all the worry I've caused you. What the... It'll be alright now. Has your memory completely returned? Yes, completely. I remember everything. Including what I was coming here to do. Right.
Kazuma-sama, I can't tell you how happy I am to see you alive and well like this. But how did you come to be here in London when you were suffering from amnesia?
It was the voice. This past year, I've been hearing it in my head constantly, saying the same thing over and over. Go to London. That's where your destiny awaits. It was that voice that guided me here to London.
I'm so sorry for what's happened.
Anyway, my memory might have returned to me. There's something that won't return the way it was before. What do you mean? I'm a prosecutor now. So eventually, I'm sure our paths will cross again very soon. Doesn't look like we're going to glean much more here. Well, thank you very much, Lord Strongheart. Remember, tomorrow's trial will go down in our Empire's history. There's much you could learn from the public gallery. Sorry to have taken up so much of your time. We'll see ourselves out.
Hold it!
Before you go, Ryunosuke. What is it, Kazuma? I just wanted to thank you.
Kazuma-san, what?
You took my determination to heart and brought it with you over the ocean in my stead. And you carried out my role to perfection.
You always were intent on studying British law in order to change our own justice system. It was your dream, and Mr. Naruhodo didn't want that to die with you.
If he even died. Yes, but I had another purpose for coming here. And I got knocked out before I could tell you. I actually have a favor to ask. Which is? This trial I'll be prosecuting tomorrow. I'd like you to be there to see how it ends. right in front of me, as the defense counsel. Why? What's this all about? I know you have what it takes. But Lord von Zieks would never put his fate in my hands. On the contrary, he recognizes your talent. He does. It's not easy to see behind the facade sometimes. Here, have a look at this. That's Lord von Zieks and Inspector Gregson. And a photograph that must have been taken some time ago by the look of it. Who's the third person? Can't you guess, dude? Was displayed very prominently in the detective's office. In Gregson's office, you mean? Yes, what I'm trying to say is, if you really think you can trust the Reaper, you might find that some straight talking makes him take a different view. Take it. I don't understand. Why are you giving me this? Just hurry, Ryunosuke. Visiting hours at the prison are almost over. What are you doing, Kazuma? Okay, we'll be on our way. Yes, I'm very nervous too. Oh my gosh. I'm sorry. Oh my god. Lord von Zieks is still reading that letter. We've been gone quite some time though. Either he's an incredibly slow reader, or it's an incredibly long letter. Oh my god, I'm so thirsty right now. I might even be able to read English faster than he can. I was intending to ignore you entirely. But I can't turn deaf ear to such an insulting Nipponese. Sorry, I didn't think you'd either. I had the case notes brought to me in secret. I was reading them to pass the time. Kiddushy. You heard that your trial is set for tomorrow. Which is none of your business. Oh, come on. So, have you found a lawyer? How many times must I reiterate the same thing? This has nothing to do with you. In other words, no. We were just talking to Lord Strongheart and the prosecutor for your trial has been decided. I'd expect nothing less. Though I have no idea who it is. It's going to be Kazuma Asogi. Asogi! That made the colour drain from his face, what little it has. Well then. It seems I'm going to have to engage in conversation with you again after all. Let's talk. Asogi! 10 years ago, my older brother, who was the director of prosecutions at the time, was murdered. And the killer, as you know, was a visiting student from the Far East. Not a single day goes by when I don't curse the name Asogi! Genshin Asogi was Kazuma-sama's father. So what cruel twist of fate is this now, 10 years later? Man's son is to crucify me in some kangaroo court! Still don't understand why Lord Strongheart apprenticed Kazuma to you. It's what he does. No doubt he knew the young man's true identity from the outset. But what could he have been hoping to achieve? Let's not forget that it was only 8 days ago that Kazuma recovered from his amnesia. Why would Lord Strongheart assign this trial to somebody like that? Asogi. Your name is the very epitome of my bane. The bane that is you, Nipponese. Right. Your hatred of all us Japanese. I'd only just been appointed as a prosecutor when it happened 10 years ago. My brother Clint, the director of prosecutions, is hunting down a mass murderer. The so-called professor. Assigned to the investigation as his partner was a certain visiting student dispatched from Scotland Yard. And that was Genshin Asogi. Exactly. I developed a deep respect for the man. He seemed noble-minded and chivalrous in the extreme to me. But none of us saw the true nature of the man. So I lost everything when it happened. My esteemed brother, the people I believed in, and any semblance of rights prevailing over wrong. How awful. To avenge my brother, I prosecuted in Asogi's trial. It wouldn't ordinarily have been allowed, but I beleaguered the scribe prosecutor until he consented. What do you mean by the scribe prosecutor? The man in charge of the Professor case inquiry, Lord Mel Strongheart.
What? Lord Strongheart?
He was a highly accomplished prosecutor, but he agreed to relinquish the trial to me and act as my advisor instead. Since that time, he's the only person to whom I felt indebted.
I'm sure he must have seen your zeal for the case and recognized your potential as a prosecutor.
Anyway, time passed. Then earlier this year, who should arrive in London but you? And, of all things, as a lawyer. I felt your animosity the first time I ever faced you in the courtroom. Your obvious deep loathing of us Japanese. I kept telling myself it was illogical. But for so many years, that hatred that festered inside me, I could no longer control it. And I can understand why. Now I know the history. But in the same way that I've long felt the Nipponese to be the bane of my life, to Kazuma Asogi, I am the bane of his. The reaper who sent his father to the gallows. He's looking for revenge, and he intends to take it in court tomorrow. Gregson's transfer to the Paris Police Prefecture had finally been arranged for the coming month, but he'll never make it to France now. It's a tragedy. Yes, come to think of it, he did mention something about that, didn't he? I wonder, does it happen often? Being transferred internationally, I mean. It's the first time I've ever encountered it. The Paris police welcoming an English detective is almost inconceivable. I can't imagine what kind of magic Gregson must have worked to put that arrangement in place. Sounds like that mystery has even the Reaper perplexed. I'm afraid to say that we were very ignorant about Inspector Gregson's standing. We hear that he was considered something of a legend at Scotland Yard. Again, It was 10 years ago that he first made a name for himself, by uncovering a decisive piece of evidence that exposed the professor's identity. If it wasn't for Gregson's singular approach to the case, the discovery would have never been made. What sort of approach? After my brother's life was taken, the inspector pushed for a full autopsy. 10 years ago! Why is that so surprising? Autopsy was considered a desecration of the body at the time, and rarely performed. My brother was of course a noble, that made the idea of it even more unthinkable. Something Gregson had dug up in his investigations made him determined it was necessary. His powerful conviction somehow influenced the House of Lords as a result. Would avenge my brother's death. He must have had great confidence in the inspector's abilities then.
And it's even more inconceivable that you would have taken his life.
I don't have confidence in anyone. I'm sure Gregson felt the same. No doubt he thought of me only as the ominous Reaper, just like the rest of London. What really went on between Lord Von Zieks and Gregson, I wonder? What was the true nature of their relationship? While we ponder on that, your gun. About the gun used to shoot the inspector that was found at the scene. Yes, that's not mine. Really? Because common opinion seems to be that it is. What do you expect me to say to that? Lord Strongheart informs us that you claim to have misplaced your firearm. As embarrassing as that is, I'm afraid it's true. When did you lose it then? I don't know. I was issued with a revolver when I first became a prosecutor 10 years ago. Must have stowed it somewhere, I suppose. Or left it somewhere, perhaps. You have something in common with Lord Von Zieks after all, Mr. Nuddlehuddle. Talent for misplacing things. This has nothing to do with me! Don't drag me into it! Don't make the mistake of associating me with this Nipponese!
Oh dear, the rift is very wide, isn't it?
So it's not decisive evidence, clearly. But it doesn't look good, that's for sure. Oh. Ooh. Does this mean something to you? Well, Von Zieks, we came by this old photograph. Where did you get that? It was taken when I became a qualified prosecutor. It's almost unbelievable. I assumed it was long lost. Is the man on the left there? Yes, that's my brother, Clint. It had to be, really. Apparently this picture was prominently displayed in Gregson's office. He had a deep respect for you, you know. Are you aware of that? Respect? That's nonsense! No, we've heard someone attest to it very clearly. Inspector Gina Lestrade, no less. Oh, now we're calling her Inspector. Good. Maybe once, yes. There was a time things were like that. We were brothers in arms, jovially discussing the future of justice and other such lofty subject matter. It was a nice glimpse of the past. I thank you. I feel as though I got a nice glimpse of the past then too. There was a glimmer of light in his eyes, a brief twinkle. An insight into the true nature of this man known to all as the stone-cold Reaper of the Bailey. Mr. Naruhodo.
That's the first time he's ever used my actual name!
I've lost all confidence in my country's justice system. I don't trust the police, the judiciary, or lawyers. There's still a thing I'm willing to believe in.
What's that?
That which you see in the eyes of another across the courtroom. A simple determination to know the truth.
Lord Von Zieks.
From the very first time we clashed in the Bailey, almost a year ago now, I couldn't deny it, even though I dearly wish I could. Here is a loathsome Nipponese who has absolute integrity as a lawyer.
Oh. You're too kind!
There are only two other men I've known with that same look in their eyes. My brother, Clint, and Genshin Asogi. The man he idolized. The man who betrayed his trust in the most hideous way. When you showed me that photograph just now, it reminded me. This photograph. Back then, I was able to laugh. I was freed from the shackles of mistrust that plague me now. I look to the future with hope. Since then, I've protected myself against betrayal by refusing to trust anyone. But at times, the mire in which I've sunk makes it seem almost impossible to breathe. I'm so sorry. So, Mr. Naruhodo, I want to believe in that look in your eyes. I need to believe in it. In tomorrow's trial, will you advocate for me?
Of course I will. It would be an honor.
I'm so pleased, Mr. Naruhodo. Then my life is in your hands. Lord Von Zieks, that must have been an incredibly hard thing to ask. Which is why I simply cannot let the man down. Tomorrow, the Old Bailey, against my old friend Kazuma.